Monday morning, everybody. Welcome to a Monday live stream here at the Jayda and Stitches show. I hope you all had a lovely weekend. It was rainy and cold here most of the weekend, so we got some indoor work done. Maybe not as much as I would have liked, but now I'm also 3 days behind in the garden, so it's always a 6 of one, half dozen of another, as a friend of mine used to say. Today, I am going to actually start sewing things down on this garden wall hanging. I am extremely excited about that. It is one step closer to it being finished and up on my wall, and I cannot wait for that. So that is what we are going to be doing today. I know some of you have already got yours finished. We've been sharing photos of them over on the community tab of the YouTube homepage. So if you haven't had a chance to check those out, I just cannot get over, I say it every time, but I can't get over what other people do with these projects. I just am loving it. So if you have photos you want to share, please feel free to do so. You can head into our Etsy shop, click on message seller, and you can upload a photo there that way, and we will turn around and share it in a little project roundup post over on the community tab of the YouTube homepage. Yeah, so that's today. We are going to start stitching stuff down. I think my plan is, because it's very, very busy down here at the bottom, and I've got a lot going on, and I'm going to be adding some extra chain stitching for like vines and stuff going up my the posts of my birdhouses. I think I'm going to start up at the top because that is the most open. There is less overlapping. There's less sort of background, middle ground, foreground, and it will let me kind of stitch down the easier stuff first, and I can then kind of just get the blanket or the canvas up and out of the way as I work. So what I've done, rather than pin everything into place, is I've taken the sewing threads or the sewing yarns left on each of these pieces, and I have pulled them through to the back of the canvas right about where I want it. So they are not going to move around. I have to kind of roll this up to bring it towards me so I can work on the top part first. So it looks kind of neat and tidy, and that's because I've actually pulled all of the yarns through to the back. So if you see, I've got this lovely big mess of yarn back here. Nothing is knotted, nothing is sewn. I've just taken the string and pulled it right through to the back, so that when I unwind everything, everything will still roughly be in kind of the same place that I left it, so that I don't have to try and pin it, and I don't have to try and remember where I put everything. So what I'm going to do is, because I'm starting with the sew down up at the top and my workspace is kind of limited, I am going to slowly fold all of this up. So my plan, let's see if I can do this as neatly as I saw it in my head. I'm going to fold one little bit at a time. There we go. Pull it down and fold another little bit, and you can sort of see it getting a bit messy here. But this is the part that I need to focus on today. I want to sew down my little clouds and probably my butterfly and my bee and even my sun. My sun goes down. I might have a little bit of overlapping, like I might have some stuff overlapping some of the sun flares, and I am going to have my sun flares sort of leave the top of and the side of the blanket. I kind of wanted to sort of spill out and over the frame. So that is my plan. I'm going to quickly sew down my remaining two. Look at me trying to redecide. Maybe a little bit of overlap there. Yeah, I might just overlap that one a little bit. Have this little, should I have that? Little overlapping. There's always going to be, I feel when I'm sort of sewing stuff down, even though I've got like a general idea of finalized positioning, when I go to actually sew stuff down, I always kind of go, oh, maybe I want that a little bit like to the left or the right. So I think, for example, I'm going to just have these two little clouds kind of touch like they're kind of connected in the sky. Then I'll worry about this little guy. So long tail left on my cloud. I'm going to thread it up with my yarn needle. How is everybody today? I hope you all had a stunningly fantastic weekend. Mr. InStitches is also here. I should probably invite him to the party.
Hello, everyone. Thanks for inviting me. Hey, good timing. We just got a super chat from Crocus.
Hello, Crocus. Crocus with a super chat. Thank you so much. Says, happy birthday, Jayda. Hope you got lots of birthday yarn. I did, actually. I took a quick trip. We went and popped into Michael's And I did a little birthday shopping, just a little bit. I might show you a couple things later because now that I've got these wall hangings on the brain, Mr. InStitches found something in the kids crafting section. Never skip the kids crafting section. The kids crafting section has all sorts of excellent stuff in it for a multitude of projects. So never skip the kids crafting section. I actually we picked up a few things there. So yeah, I might share a couple of those things a little bit later on, time permitting. Which reminds me, we have a super sneaky promotion going today. If you're here, you will know about it, but you won't know about it anywhere else. So if you pop into our Etsy shop, you will not see anything on sale because technically nothing is on sale, but we have a super sneaky promo code for you guys, 20% off anything in the shop, your entire heart's delight. Just use sneaky20 in the promo code box at checkout. So when you just fill your cart, and when you get to the checkout and there's that little promo code box, type in sneaky20 exactly as you see it there, all caps, all one word, sneaky20, and you'll get 20% off your entire order. And that is for today only. It is super sneaky. So if you're here, you know about it. That's how sneaky it is. So a big thank you to everybody who's been here. And like I said, it's for today only. So if you are catching the live stream on replay a little later today, what is today? June 3rd, Monday, June 3rd. It is, that sneaky promotion is good for the entire day. So there you go. All right, I am going to just start sewing. So what I'm doing is, you've got a couple of options because I'm going to be backing this with some cotton yarn or cotton fabric. I can make the back of this canvas as messy as I want, but I find sometimes it's easier for me to just sew using the top facing loops of whatever I'm sewing it to. So if it's the canvas, it's the canvas. If it's overlapping another applique, I'm grabbing the top piece. You see this little loop here? That's the top loop of a piece of this applique that I'm sewing it down to. And I literally hold the applique in place and I peel it back at the spot where I want to stitch it down, grab a loop from whatever is directly below that stitch, and that's what I sew it down to.
Ding, ding, ding.
Sorry, sweetie?
Ding, ding, ding.
Oh, ding, ding, ding. Speaking of ding, ding,
I can't reach my bell.
You can't reach your bell?
It's on the other side of the table here.
Getting old. He can't reach his bell anymore, guys. Monday humor. All right, Martha.
Martha.
Welcome back to Alpaca, Martha. I'm in a mischievous mood today. Goodness. So yeah, that's what I'm up to today. I'm going to stitch all this stuff down. So a lot of this is going to be done the same way we did in the folk art calendar blanket. So I like doing the sort of the top facing loop thing because I feel like it's just easy. I don't have to keep kind of flipping the wall hanging one way and then the other. I just have to peel back the edge of the applique, grab whatever loop is directly underneath that stitch, and then I'm sewing through the entire stitch along the edge of the applique. And I'm going to just do that for literally everything. There will be a few little exceptions. Like for example, I've got the beak of my hummingbird. That's an actual stitch. There's going to be some chain stitching, some surface chain stitching, because I want to add some like blades of grass and just some other detail and some embroidery work. I think that's going to happen as I go. So that might show through to the back. But like I said, it doesn't really matter because I'm going to be lining it. And we will show you how to do that. That will be its own little live stream probably, or tutorial, depending on how much space I need to show that. Someone was asking about a recap video to see the whole thing. Once this project is finished, we're going to do a little video on it, just sort of going through everything we did, sort of a consolidated, concise explanation of the project, and we'll have all the applicable links below. So it'll be like a project roundup. Mr. Stitches ding dinging. Lucy! Hi, Lucy! Lucy has gifted a membership. Thank you so much, Lucy. Thank you very, very much. Let's see who has won it. Crochet Crazy has won the membership. Congratulations, Crochet Crazy. Welcome back to the family. Thank you again, Lucy. All right, so I find this also kind of moves relatively quickly too. And because I'm not constantly flipping the sort of the main canvas back and forth, my applique won't move much, but it does give me a chance to just sort of regularly pause and make sure that it hasn't moved. Also, when stitching, I can alternate between my left and my right hands as required, which I find very, very helpful, because then I'm not kind of stitching at an awkward angle. I can still see what I'm doing. Let me get that other string out of the way. You also have the option to do a little gentle shaping as you go. Like if you want to kind of pull one edge kind of up in a certain angle or out, or round something a little more, you can pull it into the right angle and stitch it down accordingly. Ooh, Charlie's neighbor's getting a tractor. I am jealous. I would love to be getting a tractor. So we're going to see how many of these I can get sewn down in an hour. I'm kind of warming up. I didn't do any sewing. I haven't been doing anything to this in between live streams because I really wanted to try and start the sewing down process alongside everybody. Lucy with a belated happy birthday for moi and a membership milestone. Thank you, Lucy. Lucy's been a member for 14 months. Thank you for the birthday wishes.
We have a question from Ellen, too.
Sure. Hang on one second while I get my needle in here. Ellen, probably a redundant question, but what are the wall hanging domini? What are the wall hanging domini? I'm guessing you meant dimensions. It's about 21 by 30-ish, 32 inches. You can vary the size easily, so the canvas is entirely up to you. The reason I went with those specific dimensions is because I have an actual wooden doweling rod with little knobs on the end that I'm going to be using. So this is the sort of a finite size, so I figured I would make it to fit inside the little knobs on my wooden doweling. And I was considering painting this white because it's been this natural color since before I was born. This is actually from a craft kit that my aunt got when she was a teenager. That obviously never got it never finally did its job. So it's been kicking around various craft rooms for very many years, and I am finally going to put it to use. When you have finished stitching all the way around one of your appliques, you just want to make a tiny little knot as close to the edge of it as possible. Grab the end of a loop on the actual applique, something underneath it, whatever. You want to make a very tiny little loop, little knot. Knot it as tightly as you can. There we go. And weave that little yarn tail in underneath a handful of stitches. Doesn't have to be too many, but try to make sure you weave it in under the same colored stitches just so your sewing tail doesn't really show. And then you can trim any excess. Careful not to snip your stitches. That is one down, probably 100 or so to go.
Ding, ding, ding.
Ding, ding. Hello, Martha. Martha with her first ever super chat on a live stream. And a happy birthday. Thank you so much. Thank you. It was a lovely birthday. I am a full year older, and I think possibly a year younger mentally. I definitely feel a lot younger in my brain the last couple years than I have in the last 10. Does that make sense? I feel like I'm getting younger. All right, guys, shall I connect this little guy? Should I have this little cloud on its own? Should I have it kind of touching this one, maybe underneath? It's kind of too small to be part of that.
Wraith Rio says, I get to meet some adoptable bunnies on Thursday and maybe bring one home with me.
Oh my gosh.
You'll have to send us pictures if you do. Mm-hmm. I want to see the baby bunnies.
I must see the bunnies.
We have a bunny that is constantly eating around our house.
Yes. She prefers...
Just circles the house and just continuously eats
She
clover,
prefers the clover next to our driveway, which is
clover,
so super
right?
cute. JC64 in the house, gifting a membership. Thank you so much, JC. Goodness gracious. Linda, just a crochet sister. I love it. Linda has won it. Congratulations, Linda. Welcome back to the family. Thank you so much. I agree with Crocus. Age is not important. It is not important because if it was, then we would all be exactly the same at every single age, and that would actually mean something, but it sure doesn't. I have met people under the age of 10 who have got more maturity in them than some people over the age of 40. And I have met people over the age of 40 who have never really changed, you know, like you can tell that they were kind of like that when they were kids, when they were teenagers, when they were 20s, you know, people just sort of like always the same. And I think that's a beautiful thing. It's one of the things that makes us all kind of uniquely nifty. Uniquely nifty. I am going to put this little cloud on its own in this little patch of blue sky. I think because he's got a little bit of blue in him, he deserves to stand out a little bit. I might, we will see, have something flying across him at some point. So far, I think I've managed to work one dragonfly, one ladybug, one bee, and one butterfly into this wall hanging. Tina, you can send pictures to us at the Etsy shop. If you click on our Etsy link, and it's always under our videos in the description box. Mr. InStitches usually has it up top in the chat. That link will take you to our Etsy shop. Excuse me. Just click message seller. You might have to scroll around depending on what your device is to find it. Message seller. And if you've already got an open message thread with us, you can just click on that, and then you can upload a photo by clicking either the little camera icon, or the little landscape icon that's in the message box if you're using a computer or tablet. I mean a computer or laptop, and that will let you connect a photo. Ronald and Kathy Jones in the house. Hello, cousins.
Barbara's birthday will be on Wednesday.
Happy birthday to Barbara.
Just a couple days away.
And Ronald and Kathy Jones with an extremely generous super chat. Good morning, cousins. Good morning, cousins. A great way to start the day. Mr. Jones cut the grass, and now it's time for the wall hanging. The grass smells great. Oh, I love the smell of fresh cut grass. You guys make our week. Love, Kathy and Ron. Woohoo! Are we buffering? Oh, no.
I think so, yeah.
Or did I just stop? I paused.
I think we're having a little bit of trouble with the internet today.
Possibly.
A little bit.
Could be the upset in the weather. Anyway, a big thank you to Kathy and Ronald Jones. Thank you so much, you guys. Appreciate you all being here. It is a beautiful Monday to do some crochet. I guess every Monday's a beautiful Monday to do some crochet. At least it is in my estimation. I was chatting with Vima earlier today, and she is experiencing mind-meltingly hot weather, so it's definitely stay in and crochet weather for her. And if you had the crappy cold and rainy weather that we've had recently, that's also stay in and crochet weather. So unless it's a perfect 20 degrees Celsius with a light breeze, I don't really care to be outside for too long. Love to be outside, but I don't like to melt, and I don't like my teeth chattering. Catherine says all weather is crochet weather. I think actually that's probably very accurate. It is, any weather is crochet weather. I have crocheted at the beach. I have crocheted at the campfire. I have crocheted at weddings. I have crocheted in the coldest, winteriest blizzards, and I have crocheted in the most glorious, beautiful sunny afternoons. So, yeah.
Super sticker.
Vima! Speaking of the lovely lady herself, There she is with a piece of birthday cake. Thank you, Vima. Wonderful. Thank you so much. A yummy, yummy pink piece of birthday cake, too. I also want to just mention, when it comes down to sort of sewing down these little appliques, not every stitch is necessary. So some appliques have a gazillion stitches on them, like this big sunshine over here. And on something like a wall hanging that is not a piece that's going to get worn, you don't have to do every single stitch. You could do every other stitch. Some stitches are maybe more important than others, like the points, the very tips of the sun rays that you want to make sure are kind of in the right position. So you don't have to think, oh my gosh, I have to sew down every single stitch. No, you don't. You can sew, every other stitch. You can maybe skip the odd one if it feels like, a couple are a little too close together or something, or you're trying to shape your sun or your cloud into a better position. You don't have to use every single stitch. So don't get bogged down in the tiny details like that either. This is fun. And you're looking overall for an overall aesthetic. You're not looking for perfection, because nothing is perfect, and nobody is going to look at it that closely. And if they do and they're critical, they're not welcome to your house. I gotta just weave in this little tail, and then that is all my clouds done. Goodness gracious. Amanda, thank you for picking up some patterns. I certainly hope you used our sneaky promo code. Sneaky, sneaky. Mr. InStitches, if you would be so kind as to splash that across our television. We've got a super sneaky promotion going. So if you're here, you know about it. It's a promo code. Sneaky20, all caps, all one word. If you use that in the promo code box at checkout today at our shop, anything is 20% off, just for you.
Or multiple things. It's your whole order.
It's your entire order. Yeah, you could buy the whole shop if you wanted to. Not that I'm saying you should. You'd be weeding through patterns forever if you did something like that. But yes, it's 20% off your entire order as a gigantic thank you. So if there was anything in this project, for example, that you meant to pick up and you kind of missed the sneaky sale day, today's your day. You can use the promo code. Just make sure you put that in the promo code box before you click final checkout. There's a box there that says promo code. You'll see it. All right. Time to do the big sun. So I don't have any leftover yarn on this. When I first created this sun, I was really just fiddling with the pattern. So I didn't leave a long tail on it because I wasn't really sure if I was going to use it as an applique or not. But if you have an applique to sew down and you didn't have a tail, this is how you add a tail to an existing applique that you don't have a tail on. So I'm going to snip some yellow yarn here. Easy peasy. All I'm going to do is attach my yarn. So I'm going to come down here in between a couple of sun flares on the back of my actual sunshine. I'm just grabbing a loop on the back. I'm going to pull my yarn all the way to the end. Sewing these bigger appliques down requires a little more yarn. And then I'm just going to knot it. I'm going to knot it to the back of the applique as though I never snipped the yarn. There we go. And then lay it back down and start sewing. So I'm going to sew down. This is a great example of what I mean by not having to use every single stitch. So the important parts of this applique for sewing, in my opinion, are the spot between the flares, every other stitch running up the sides of the flares, and the points of the flares. There's nothing to be sewn around the middle. Having said that, if you wanted your flares to have a real three-dimensional feel and you didn't want to sew them down, so it might be kind of fun to have them sort of, somebody was asking me about like a three-dimensional or a textured or a more dimension, like there's more depth to the picture. If you wanted to just leave them out, like kind of curling, you could just sew back and forth through the edge all the way around the circle at the base of each of the flares and not sew down the flares at all. And that would leave the flares to kind of do their thing, kind of rest, curl up if they wanted to. Certainly it would give it a little bit more texture, some more, I need another word. It's like it gives it like an oomph. It becomes less of a more of a dimensional effect. It becomes less of a 2D thing and more of a real piece, you know. So actually, now that I've said that out loud, I'm questioning my decision to sew down all of my little applique or my little sun fingers. What do you guys think, Mr. InStitches? What do you think?
So the options are sew around the circle so that the flares kind of stick out,
yep.
Or sew down all the flares.
Or sew down all the flares. Or sew down some and not all. I suppose that's another third option.
To be honestly, I think either way would look good. It's just a matter of what you feel like doing.
Yeah, because a lot of them, like the little tips of some of these are going to poke right out over the edge of the frame, which is intentional. So I obviously won't be sewing them down. They'll be left sort of to hang.
Yes, of course. I say leave them sticking out. The only thing is, as the weather changes and you get humidity and dry, they're going to curl.
That's true. They will curl a little bit.
I don't know.
Okay, you know what?
Let's ask the chat. Everyone in the chat.
I'm going to start stitching.
Give us your opinion.
I'm going to start stitching, and I am interested to hear what everybody thinks.
Maria says just hot glue it.
Just hot glue it.
You know, you could sew down the circle and then just hot glue the tips.
Well, the problem with hot gluing is that I have used acrylic yarn, and the hot glue will melt my yarn.
Oh, you don't want that.
Don't want to do that. So, I don't want melted acrylic fibers. That'll look funny. But I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to just sort of grab. First, I'll stitch down a few of the sun flares, and then not like super tight. Just sort of doing every couple of stitches, like I said, so it doesn't take forever.
Crocus says you can buy Aleene's fabric glue from Michaels.
Yes, fabric glue.
So fabric glue does not affect acrylic, I assume.
I don't like the way that looked.
Unlike the hot glue.
I'm going to try one other thing. I'm going to try just stitching up the back. So, I'm going to grab a loop that's directly underneath the edge, underneath the inside, the very back of one of these solar flares. I like experimenting. Oh yeah. And then, so we'll do one here.
Cherie says, I'm okay with the curling. I think that's fine too.
Yeah.
It adds a bit of a, flair. It adds a little flair, if you know what I mean. Your birthday's over. Dad jokes are allowed to continue.
No. Oh.
Yeah, you only get a 1 day break on your birthday. That's it.
How's this? Definitely want that feels a little on the messy side, but all right, so I will stitch through some of the stitches on the way down. I'm just trying a handful of things to see if I like the speed and efficiency or if I like the actual way it looks. I'm just trying a handful of things. I was very specific to sew down every stitch, or at least every other stitch, on this particular applique when we did the folk art calendar blanket, because it's a blanket, and I knew that the blanket would be getting used, getting washed on occasion. But with this, there's going to be a lot less traffic on this because it's a wall hanging. It's just largely going to sit on the wall, minding its own business. All right, so I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to stitch using every other stitch because I like the way that looks. So not every one, but every two. And this sewing yarn will eventually get a lot skinnier. I'm definitely sewing down the tips of each of them because I want to make sure they all sit in the same place or in the right place. Bose says you could French knot the tips. Yes, that would be kind of cute. That would also be added texture and dimension. I like that idea. So I think you can definitely do this a few different ways. I think you can just tack down the underside or sew up the sides. You could just sew along the sun and leave the flares out. I don't know. I think it depends on kind of the look you're going for. I think I want the sun to be less, it's already going to sort of stand, like sit off the edge of the blanket. So I feel like that's enough of a, like it's got enough to say doing that. And I'm just gonna do every other stitch because I think I like the way that feels and looks. Now I've come to a bit where my little tip is off the frame. It's completely out in outer space. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a little piece of the canvas, which in this case is the frame, and then a little piece on the very back side of the sun flare where it will lay over top of that part of the blanket. And that is it. That's where I'm connecting it. And then I'm going to just sew back down the other side.
Helen has a question.
All right, let me get a look-see here. Ellen, do you have a tutorial or pattern on Etsy for the applique you're working on? Yes, this is our folk art Sunshine. We have a tutorial and a written pattern. The pattern is available in the Etsy shop, and I'm pretty sure I just heard my phone go off, but this thing didn't go off. What is happening here?
Restart the tablet.
I just did before we went live.
Did you?
With
the phone went off, but the tablet didn't.
I always do. Yes, Jan. Jan just picked up a pattern. Thank you, Jan. Now, why is the tablet just suddenly not? It worked a moment ago when Amanda was in there.
We're having internet issues today.
Okay.
They're mild. They're mild, but they're there.
I did feed the squirrels.
I think it's the weather.
I even hand fed 2 of them this morning, so...
You even hand fed them?
Yeah.
They should be paying for our internet.
They should be paying for our internet.
Freeloaders. Freeloading squirrels.
Freeloading squirrels. I'm going to get that. I know the sewing can be kind of time consuming, but I have to say I actually really enjoy it because I feel like I'm getting more in touch with the actual project.
Went off again.
It did. What is going on? Thank goodness something around here's working.
You're going to have to check to see who that was.
Yeah, I just... Lauren, thank you so much for picking up a pattern. Goodness gracious. and she picked up an entire ebook. An ebook of one of our
I
calendar
hope you used the
blankets.
coupon.
Yes, she did. Thank you.
Woohoo!
Use the sneaky sale coupon.
Sneaky sale coupon.
Sneaky 20 today only, and you get 20% off whatever your little heart desires.
Your entire order.
Yeah, the entire order. Golly, thank you very much, Lauren. You know what, gang? I'm just going to restart my tablet so that I can, maybe it'll work properly this time. It was working. I don't know why it just suddenly stopped. Mr. InStitches thinks we're having some internet issues, so perhaps that is the case. So I will just continue sewing while it does its thing. I like the flares that sort of sit off the edge. I think that's really neat. It's a way of giving a little bit of extra height and dimension over top of like this particular flare is going to sit up almost over top of, well, it might almost touch the top of the doweling.
Big thank you to Lauren for purchasing one of our ebooks. So Lauren got $11 off.
There it goes. Awesome.
Woohoo!
That's what I'm talking about. There. See, now it's it's making all sorts of happy noise over here.
There we go. Now it's working.
that was probably Lauren. That. All right. Let me get back up and running here. Unreal. There we go. Back up and running. Thank you. Okay, so I'm gonna just, this whole thing actually, I might just skip this one entirely because most of that flare is off the edge of the canvas as well. There we go. Why not?
Do you have a tip for Catherine who says my appliques always end up moving when I sew them down?
Smack. Sorry, everybody.
It gets annoying, and
Tina.
I don't notice till it's too late.
Okay, quick things. Thank you to Tina for picking up some patterns at the shop. It looks like everything's working again. Catherine wants to know how to keep things from moving. So a couple things. One, always pause. So you see me pausing quite a lot as I'm sewing. I kind of pause. I move things back. You can also pin things into place. So if your stuff wants to move around on you quite a bit, sew slowly. So do a couple stitches and then make sure it hasn't moved. But you might want to use pins, sewing pins, literal sewing pins. You just pin the thing into place. You don't need too many. You just sort of pin it. Like if I was sewing down or pinning into place this little cloud, I might just go pin, 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 like right through the middle of it. Obviously you don't want to poke yourself while you're sewing. But then while you're sewing, still consider, like, pause every couple of stitches and make sure it hasn't moved on you. But the pins will help keep it from wanting to move away. So those are really, really helpful. And I highly recommend having some sewing pins around all the time. Even if you're not much of a sewer, pins are incredibly useful, even for us crocheters. There's another little flare that sits off the edge. Guess I gotta switch to my other hand now so I can see what I'm doing. Charlie's suggesting that you can start in the middle. Yes. If there's a definite middle, like if the whole applique is going to pivot on a particular middle point, like if it's going to maybe shift one way or the other, start in the middle and work your way around that way, or the middle top, the middle bottom. That can sometimes help. It depends on, I guess, which, if it's a cloud. Clouds move, so it's not such a big deal if they move a little bit. But if it's something a little more specific, like you want your garden gnome to be standing in a certain way and you don't want him to end up sideways, then yes, maybe starting with a good anchor point. Like I definitely want his hat to be anchored here. Maybe start at the top of the hat, or maybe, look at the applique and kind of decide, okay, what do I absolutely am I sure of? Like I want this part in this location. Well, I would recommend pin, however many pins you think you might need. And then I usually start wherever my sewing yarn is, like wherever I knot it off, that's where I start from. But yeah, you can start anywhere you like, especially if you're worried about it moving and you want a certain aspect of it anchored in a certain spot. It's probably better to start in that spot. And then you know for sure as you start sewing that at least the anchor point isn't going anywhere.
Ding, ding, ding.
Ding! Ivan, member for 36 months. Thank you. Hello, Ivo. Ivan says, "Hi, Jayda. I am from the Czech Republic. I love your patterns." Well, hello. The beautiful Czech Republic. Thank you so much. Another place on my bucket list of places to visit at some point. Thank you for being a part of the family. What's the weather like in the Czech Republic right now? I bet you it's beautiful. Probably a little warmer than it is here. I think the Czech Republic is further south, right?
I'm not sure.
Further
I think
south
is
than-
the Czech Republic
than we
where
sit?
Prague, the city of Prague, is?
That's
Because I would like to visit that.
you'll excuse our geography.
I know it's Eastern Europe. Ivo will let us know.
Yes. Oh, I'm gonna go down here.
Steffi asks, "Do we have fiber internet?" Yes. Thank you to all you guys who support us. We were able to finally get our fiber internet.
Yes.
We also had to wait for it to become available.
Yes.
Because that was an issue.
Yes. So finally available, and we can finally afford it, which is wonderful.
And in the near future, I plan to upgrade our modem. Or no, what's it called? Is that the modem? The thing that spits out the Wi-Fi? I want to upgrade that, and it should be even faster.
Yes.
But that's in the future.
Yes, that's in the future. Meg! Yay, it's working again! Meg, thank you! Meg has picked up a pattern at the Etsy shop. Thank you so much. Ding-a-ling, ding, ding, ding. Meg has also picked up an ebook. Thank you so much, Meg.
I found my bell.
Mister, you found the bell.
Yep.
Where was it
I
hiding?
had to reach for it. I had to reach, but I found it.
He's back. He's back, everybody. And the bell
The
still...
bell is back.
The bell still works. Tammy's asking, what is the sale? Tammy, because you're here, we are telling everybody we are having a super sneaky promo today. Super sneaky promotion. So if you're here, you know about it. It is not a sale. It is a promotion. So if you use the sneaky promo code SNEAKY20, all one word, all caps, SNEAKY20 in the promo code box at checkout, so you can just fill your cart with whatever you want, and as you're checking out, you'll see the little box says promotion code. Do you have a coupon? You can put in SNEAKY20, all one word, all caps, and you'll get 20% off your entire order. It is a super sneaky promotion. You won't see it if you head to the shop. You'll only know about it if you're here with us. So super sneaky and super awesome. If there's anything you wanted to pick up that you've kind of missed any of the previous sneaky sales.
It's also super only today.
It's also super only today, yes. Okay, I really like this. I like how that looks, all kind of feathered off the top. That is working nicely. I'm going to do just a couple on this one. Now I'm about halfway done the sun. I'm starting to move a little faster because I'm eating up through my sewing yarn, so it's getting a little quicker to sew. Jayda, did you have your favorite birthday dinner? Asked Bobby. Well, you know what, Bobby? I did, in a way. After we had that interesting discussion about everybody's favorite birthday dinners, I decided there were so many amazing suggestions. And we had recently just had hamburgers. And hamburgers are usually my favorite thing. So we kind of mixed up a few other people's ideas. We wound up having breaded chicken fajitas. We made all this at home. I like to cook a lot, so we stay in and cook a lot. I cook a lot because I love it. I absolutely love cooking. In fact, one of my favorite things to do on my birthday is spend an excessive amount of time cooking in the kitchen. I did not, however, make my cake. Mr. InStitches bought me a Snickers cake. There is still some in the fridge. It is the most decadent chocolate cake I have ever had. It has Snickers bars and score bars all cracked up on top of it. Oh my gosh, it is so good. So yes, that was not my typical birthday cake, but boy, do I love it. And we had chicken fajita wraps, homemade chicken fajita wraps, which were so good. And that was somebody's suggestion, and I was like, yeah, that's what I want. So that's what we had. It was fabulous. Might have to have it again, actually. Okay. Oops. Ding, ding. How did that get knotted? Guess I will have to fix that when it comes out the other side. Huh. Weird. All right. A knot it is. I have a knot now. Whatever. Not perfect. Don't care. Ding, ding, a ding, ding, ding. Mario. Marcella. Mario Marcella. I hope I'm saying that right. Welcome to Alpaca. Welcome back. This is a re-welcome. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Tammy says she can't wait for Friday because she knows that this Friday is Calendar Blanket Friday. The new Granny Square is coming this Friday. Woohoo! Can't believe we are 6 months in already. Goodness gracious, where has that part of the year gone?
That's way too fast.
I think you guys are really going to enjoy this month's square.
This is a special one.
This is super special.
This is the halfway mark.
Yes.
Special, super special square.
Super special. Also this month we will be doing a special video on joining. You can start joining your squares at any time. You can use any joining method you want. I'm using the ladder stitch because I love it and it's invisible, which means I can use any color of yarn to connect my squares. Am I still visible here? So we will be doing, though, a special video on that. So if anybody is kind of extra curious about how it's going to look, we're going to have a video for that this month as well. Lots of fun stuff coming in June. Ding, ding, ding. Hello, Audrey. Audrey's been a member for 3 months. Thank you, Audrey. With a membership milestone, says, what is your favorite cake? Mine is ice cream cake from Dairy Queen. Ooh, I do like that. My favorite cake is angel food cake with a mocha cream icing. But I will also happily take a white slab cake from Zehrs. Zehrs Markets makes a vanilla white slab cake with a buttercream icing that I love so much. I love that one. So if I'm going to buy one, I think my new favorite might be this scrumptious Snickers cake that Mr. InStitches bought me. I'm typically not a big chocolate cake fan. I love chocolate. I just don't usually like a chocolate cake. And I found this one wasn't too much. It wasn't too rich. It wasn't too sweet. So yeah, I like the white cake. I do like ice cream cake. I know the ice cream cake is at Dairy Queen has that little line of cookie or fudge or something through the middle of it. Yum. Mr. InStitches, what's your favorite cake, honey?
I like all the cakes. Same way you like all the colors, I like all the cakes.
You like all the cakes. Well, there you go.
I think similar to you, if I had to absolutely choose my favorite, it would be the classic vanilla cake with the butter.
It's the Zehrs white slab cake.
It's like that buttercream icing or the cheese butter icing.
Yes.
I'm not sure. One of those two.
Yes.
But I also really like that sfolia cake.
Oh yeah, that's my other
That's
favorite.
strawberry and like vanilla custard and very flaky pastry. I like
Yes.
that one. Strawberry
Sfolia.
sfolia, I think it's called.
That is a pretty amazing
That's a
cake.
big winner.
Yeah. Big thanks to your mom for inviting me or
Yes.
introducing me to that cake.
But those just sit at the top because I'll eat any cake. I just don't like those little fruit cakes. The ones that have the
Oh yeah, you don't like fruit cake.
hard, like I like the cakey part, but those little weird hard candy fruits,
Your typical British fruit
they
cake.
taste funny to me.
Yeah, I love that cake.
And Jayda loves it. Tiramisu, yes, that's a good one.
Yes, but only if my mother-in-law makes it.
Homemade only.
Mama InStitches makes the best tiramisu on the planet. I'll only eat hers. In fact, there's a lot of food only.
Cheesecake. I'm a huge cheesecake fan.
Yes, I do like cheesecake.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, our friend Carla makes a mean cheesecake.
Krista, the name it's called Sfolia. I'm not really sure how to spell it. It's like Svoilia something along that line. Sfolia.
Goodness, hello.
It's typically it's a white color. It looks like
It's got a lot of cream in it. Hi, Holly. Thank you so much for picking
vanilla
up a
ice cream,
pattern.
and then it usually has strawberries all over it, like real strawberries.
Yes. Thank you, Holly. Thank you. Oh my goodness gracious. Connie! Connie, thank you. Connie has also popped in for a little something. Thank you so much for picking up our 2024 calendar. Hey, all right.
Yay! Yeah, if there's anything in our shop that's bigger, like the big ebooks or anything you've been eyeing, now's a good time to get them.
Yes, because that promo code for today, again, today's promo code is just sneaky so that you guys know about it. It's only in effect for today, but it's good for anything in the shop. So if you had something on your wish list, for heaven's sakes, treat yourself. It is June after all. I'm going to, excuse me. I'm going to try to catch up a little bit with my journaling, my crochet journaling.
I'll see.
Into the
I'll
warm
see if
weather.
I can find it on the internet, and I'll post it.
Sfolia.
Yeah, I'm not sure how it's spelled. Amanda says, "Thank you for the 20% promo code."
Yes.
Thank you,
Thank you,
everyone,
Amanda.
for supporting our show.
This is it's stuff like
We
this that
really
lets us do
appreciate
things
it.
like afford fiber internet.
We can afford fiber internet.
No
now.
joke. Like, no joke. That is a huge part of how we pay for things like that lets us do these live streams and actually look decent.
Well, maybe there's an F in there.
I think it's Sfolia, SF.
SF?
Yeah.
Sfolia. I'm looking for it here.
Any Italians in the chat?
It's
don't know.
usually in an Italian bakery.
Yes.
Fancy Italian bakeries that sell bread and cakes and hot tables. That's usually where you find it. I keep getting Voila. It's not Voila. That is not what it is.
Well, what's the Italian for cake, sweetie?
Torta?
Torta. So look up Sfolia torta.
Or is that a... Oh, in Italian?
Yeah, look it up in Italian. Danny, thank you so much for picking up some patterns. Danny's been doing a little shopping. Thank you.
Well, I can't do this while we're streaming, so we'll look it up and we'll post it.
Yeah, we will. We'll make a little post about it. And if I have a photograph, and I think I do, of the one Mama got me for my birthday a couple years ago, I'll even post a picture.
That Marissa might have it there. Sfollia.
Sfolia.
That sounds correct.
Marissa, yes.
Yeah, I think Marissa got it.
Marissa got it. Thank you. Thank you, Marissa. Goodness gracious. So thank you very much to Danny. Thank you very much to Barbara for picking up some patterns. and using our sneaky 20 sale code. It's our promotional code. Super sneaky just for you guys because you're here today. So thank you, thank you, thank you. I am doing pretty well here. I'm just, you know what? I'm going to try and just roll this back a little bit. I'm going to get roll my little dragonfly out of the way, because if the dragonfly overlaps my sun is in the background, so I want to make sure that my sun is not stitched on top of my dragonfly.
So, Mary Jo, that's how you pronounce that name.
Mary Jo, all right.
Mary Jo. Thank you. And my birthday is on Wednesday. I'll be 80.
All right.
Wow.
Nothing's...
Well, you're getting the big birthday animation for sure.
Big birthday animation for that.
Happy birthday, Mary Jo.
Nothing's stopping Mary Jo. That is awesome sauce. 80. Wow, awesome.
Mary Jo is crushing it.
Carol, thank you. Thank you for picking up a pattern. I am almost all the way. I'm 3/4 of the way around here. I knew the sun would take the longest, but that's okay. It is a big piece, but it's such a big happy piece. I'm happy for that. So, and of course my little sewing tail is getting shorter and shorter. Barbara, and thank you so much for picking up a pattern. Sneaky, sneaky. It's the super sneaky sale. Thank you, guys. Oh my goodness gracious. Carolyn, thank you. Thank you so much for picking up some patterns. And it's good all day, that promotion code. So if you think to yourself a little later today, oh, you know what? I think I also want that, you know, XYZ. You can still use the same promo code today. It's in effect all day. You can use it all day.
Until midnight Eastern.
So yeah, until 11:59 p.m. Eastern. Which I think is, I like how specific that is.
It's very specific.
All right, let's just roll this up a little bit.
Here's another spelling of it. Now, I don't know if this is correct, but Sandra says, we're still going back to this folia cake.
Yep.
S-F-O-G-L-I-A.
Sfoglia.
So now we have two spellings.
Okay.
Which I think might both be correct.
Yes. Either way, however you spell it, it's an absolutely delicious cake. It is light and fluffy. It is not super sweet. So for those of you who don't like
really
things that are
good.
super sweet, like me, I actually don't like things that are super sweet. I'm a salty girl as opposed to sweet. Oh yeah, there's a good poll, Mr. InStitches. Are you sweet or are you salty?
Oh yeah, like if you're gonna reach for a snack. Okay, we're doing that.
That's
one.
a poll and a half right there.
I will risk the computer's brain for this one.
Getting quicker and quicker here. Your applique is going to move around the most at the beginning when there are fewer stitches, tacking it down, obviously. And once, of course, you've got more of it sewn down, the less likely it's going to move, so you don't have to pause and check as often. So it does get quicker and quicker towards the end of the stitch down. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 little solar flares left to go. I'm only stitching down like every other stitch on the flares. I'm making sure I get the points. Salted dark chocolate candy. Yeah, Mary Jo. You and me, girl. That is my kryptonite. I love that stuff. There's a salted caramel dark chocolate that I think it's an Our Compliments brand, a Sobeys Our Compliments brand up here. Oh my gosh, I love that. Getting to the end here. I'm going to have the whole sky done today, so that's great. And then all the fun stuff comes next. Yeah, I think I'm happy with the flat kind of, I like with the sun being mostly flat because it's just such a big piece. I didn't really want it to be, if I let all the flares go, which is fine. I think that's cool too. I think it would have had too much to say on this blanket. Sherry, thank you so much. And Lori, thank you so much, both of you, for picking up a pattern at the shop. Thank you, thank you. Sneaky 20, guys. Use it at checkout. Sneaky 20. We love sneaky sales. We love sneaky stuff. This is a sneaky promotion. Crunchy or smooth? That's another good one, Bobby. Hello, Masha. Hello, sweetheart. Thank you so much for this super sticker. Hi, I've missed y'all so much. I'm back and love the garden scene. Well, thank you. We're so glad you're back. Thank you, thank you. I love this little garden. Everybody has had so many wonderful ideas for both the garden theme and also for other wall hanging themes. I think we will definitely be doing another wall hanging down the road this year for sure. There are just way too many good ideas, and I love the idea of having a bunch of wall hangings that are relatively the same size so that you can just keep trading them out and kind of have this one spot in your house on a wall that maybe otherwise is a bit boring, where you have this sort of rotating decor. And the neat things about these is that they're fabric. You can roll them up and put them away in like a drawer until you need them again. So it's a really neat way to change up a pretty big, impressive piece of decor in your house, you know? Loving it.
Masha's super chat, did you get that?
I did.
Okay. I'm getting a delay here.
I know you're busy thinking about cake, I can tell.
My computer's on a bit of a delay.
Charlie's going to make one of a nighttime theme. Yes, I hope everybody saw the one we put up in the community post a little while ago. Marie, thank you for picking up a couple of patterns. Thank you, thank you. It was a starry night sky with mountains in the background. Just absolutely fabulous. I love the idea of doing a night sky. I haven't done a night sky yet. And I think that would be really neat. I'm thinking maybe that would be fun for Halloween or the fall. Something spooky.
Are you going to show off all your new crafting goodies you got for your birthday?
Ooh, I am.
I think you should show everyone. Maybe not today, but...
I will. It wasn't a huge haul, but it was a fun haul. I got a lot of nifty stuff. I think I'm just going to quickly
Well,
sew
if you
up.
count Amazon, it was a huge haul, Missy.
Yes, that's true. That's true. Mr. InStitches has been busy getting me things, too.
My wallet is feeling it. My wallet says it was a huge haul.
All right, I decided to do down that edge, and I am going to make the tiniest of little knots up here. I am finished sewing one little knot up at the top. There we go. And I'm going to just hide that knot, weave this tail down through some of those stitches, not too many. There we go. And trim, trim-a-ding-ding. There we go. That is the sun. That is the cloud. So the top part of my sky is now on. So I'm going to move it up a little bit. Let's get some of this mess rolled back.
Big storm came through. Big hurricane came through the little
Yes,
garden.
Big hurricane. I definitely want my butterfly in the sky. Hello, nod to Reading Rainbow. Anybody? Butterfly in the sky, I can go twice as high. I love that song. a little something for LeVar Burton here. Butterfly in the sky. I'm going to sew that one down. I've got my long black tail. This is a really easy one. This one's got the same color all the way around, so I'm just going to stitch it down all the way around. I'm going to do a similar thing that I did with the sun low. I may not do every single stitch. I might just do every other stitch, but here is that, like if I want it to be sort of on a specific angle and I want the head pointed in a certain direction, I'm going to make sure I sew down the head. So just a little bit of the head.
Can you slide that down about an inch or two?
Let me get it right into the middle of the camera here. How's that?
I kind of like the wonky birdhouses.
Yeah, they're all.
Maybe we should go a little wonky.
There's been a little earthquake in the garden.
It's been a little windy.
It's all right. I will fix. I will fix. Vima's asking, do I have a lavender flower video? No, but that is a good idea. Okay, so I've got the center of the head of my butterfly stitched down, and now I'm going to make sure that I get the base of one of the antennae. Actually, I'm going to just sew right through the middle of the antenna. So I'm going to go right
so
to the
I'm
middle.
going to send you the poll. We have, we need one more vote. Let's get to 100 votes. We're at 99 votes for the poll.
There's the antenna. So there's one antenna stitched down. I just went through it. I didn't go all the way around the edge. I just put a stitch right through the center of it and anchored it off the back. And that's not going to go anywhere. It's a tiny little thing. Make sure that nothing's moving. And then I'm just going to do every other little stitch on the way down. It's good to do the inside corners and the points, because those things, you don't want your sewing thread to show. I heard a ding ding. What's going on?
The poll.
The poll. Oh, there's something funny happened. My chat completely stalled out.
You might want to refresh that.
All right. Wow. Look at all this. It just stopped working. Okay, I refreshed it. Audrey's asking for another craft room tour. We really got to refresh in here. Here it is. Here is the... Oh, Lisa, thank you so much. Thank you for picking up a pattern. Here is the poll. Are you sweet or are you salty when you reach for a snack? 53% of you said sweet. 46% of you said salty. 104 votes. So there you go. I'm in the minority. I tend to be a salty person.
And for the record, in the chat, a lot of people were saying both.
Yes,
They
I
reach
understand
for
that.
both.
But if I'm reaching for a snack, usually it's salty. I will take salty before sweet. But sometimes, I do like a nice piece of cake once in a while. Not going to say no to that. So every so often, pause, make sure your butterfly hasn't moved or whatever applique you're working on. I think I'm going to make sure I get my little tip here.
Mary
go.
Jo has been crocheting for 75 years.
Whoa! Whoa!
I think,
that beats me.
I think that's the winner. That beats you.
That certainly beats me.
What are you at? Like 35-ish?
Well, let me see.
Everyone, put in the chat how long you've been crocheting. 57 years for Crocus.
Whoa! 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 I've been crocheting. Let me think.
Do you want a calculator?
I'm doing the math. 30, 35, about 35 years, I think. I've been knitting for just a little bit longer and sewing for a little bit longer than that. Making sure I get my... There we go. Oh yeah. I'm taking the opportunity to really sort of stretch out my wings as I stitch them down so the full extension of that butterfly shape can be seen. This is great. Great, great, great. Very pleased. So I'm only grabbing like every other stitch as I sew, because it really doesn't need to be every single one. Very good. All right. Woohoo! Some of you are brand new to crochet. Some of you have been crocheting forever. I love it.
It's a real mix here.
Yeah.
10 years, 36, 20, 43, 27.
That's another reason this community is so absolutely fantastic. Because when you have
65.
people who have been crocheting a super long time, they have tricks and tips and ideas and like pattern know-how that all the beginners can totally benefit from, and vice versa. I know it sounds funny, but sometimes when you're brand new to a craft, you come at it from a perspective, from a place, an entry point that somebody who's been crocheting for like 35 years does not. People point things out to me all the time. I've been crocheting 35 years almost daily because I'm obsessed with it. I have been crocheting almost every single day since I started. I just love it that much. I just always something on my hook, you know, and I feel like I've done all the different crochet stitches, and I've tried the big hooks and the little hooks and the amigurumi and the granny squares, and you name it, I've tried it. And I think to myself, yeah, I know what I'm doing. I'm good at crochet. And then someone comes along and goes, hey, you know, there's a better way to do the single crochet 2 stitches together. And I go, what?
Mary Jo and Carol Doyle are tied at 75 years.
Wow. Wow, ladies.
Piece
Goodness.
of chocolate cake for both of you.
Wow. That's amazing. I love it. I love it. I have to say, my grandmother was much more of a knitter than a crocheter, but she definitely could crochet. But she could really knit. Boy, could she knit. My gosh. And she comes into the house one day. I'm sitting at the kitchen table knitting. I used to love knitting mittens, and I love knitting in the round on 4 needles. Love it. That is my favorite way to knit. Give me 4 needles. I will knit all sorts of things in the round using 4 needles. So much fun. I taught myself how to do that. I was like, oh yeah, this makes sense. And that was before the internet. So I'm working on a pair of mittens for a friend, and she comes in and she looks at me and she goes, what are you doing? And I said, I'm knitting a mitten. And she goes, she goes, huh. I never did know how to use those 2-pointed needles. I didn't know you used all 4 of them at the same time. And I felt so unbelievably chuffed. I was so proud of myself, because there's my grandmother, somebody I consider a master knitter, who looking at me going, oh, I never knew how to do that. And by this point, I mean, she has to have been knitting for like 50 plus years. So yeah, you can always learn something. What would I have been able to teach my grandmother about knitting, I thought. And there it was. Something as simple as a 4-point needle thing. Four double-pointed needles. I had no idea she didn't even know how to use them. That was so neat. So you can always learn something new. And it's always good to have somebody who's been doing it forever around, because they've always got something, some useful little trick, something efficient, a bypass, something, you know what I'm saying. Efficiency, I think. I know we love our hobbies, and we love them because they're sort of an escape, and there's something to keep us occupied and happy and busy, and they're supposed to be relaxing. But even that, you want to find the most efficient way to do things. All right, crocus has another name for it, sfogliatella.
Sfogliatelle. Sfogliatelle.
With the L on the end, is that? I haven't heard it with that.
At the end. That might be the cupcake version?
Yeah, that might be the cupcake version.
Mm-hmm.
All right. I also might run out of my little sewing yarn here, so I can show you what I do when I run out of sewing yarn in a second. Let's see how far I get with it. All the way back to the... Okay, so I have a little bit of tail left, but I still need to sew a little bit. So I'm going to grab that yarn. Let's see if I can find it in my gigantic stash here. I have a huge bundle of yarn next to me on the floor in a bucket, everybody. So if you're wondering what's going on, that's what's going on. Aha, here it is.
You need to bust out your yarn winder.
Yes, I do.
Get all those pretty little cakes going.
I have a lot of yarn that needs winding up. Okay. So here's the same yarn I was using to sew down my butterfly. I'm going to cut a length that is longer than I need. I'm going to take both the ends. So that's the short end of my stitching yarn. Here's my new yarn. So I'm taking both ends together, and I'm going to just make a loop and pass the two ends through that loop. Hard to see. Hang on, let's see if I can. So passing the two loops through that, two ends through that one loop, making a knot. I find this knot doesn't want to come undone. You can kind of pull on both the ends, and then that's a nice tight knot. And make it as tight as you can, so it's as small as you can, because you're still doing a bit of sewing. And don't worry about where the knot goes for the first little while. You'll eventually hide it. And then you just have to kind of slowly work it through the loops. Did I split it? No, there it is. Oh, that's what I did. Woohoo! Hello! Barbara! Thank you! Thank you for picking up a pattern. There we go. And then I'm going to make sure I get underneath this loop. Don't want to split my yarn. Yeah, maybe I'll just grab both of them. That's easier. There we go. And through the side. And I think I can probably hide it under, so if I wrap it around, I've got just a little bit of yarn left before that knot, so if I take my needle and I bring it right underneath, I can tuck those tails underneath the head. There we go. And then I can continue sewing. I only need to do a couple more stitches. I am almost done here. I'm going to sew right through the antenna. So I'm not going around the antenna stitches, I'm going right through them. I'm going to anchor them to a single stitch here on the blanket or the wall hanging. There we go. and back down to the middle of the head where I started. There. I'm going to make a tiny little knot. This is black, so it's very easy to hide knots and things. That's one positive about using super dark or black yarn. Tiny, tiny little knot. I'm going to take my tail, weave it down the length of the body through some of those stitches, the whole way, I think. And then I will fasten off. All right. Snip. So that is that. What have I done today? I got the clouds and the sun stitched down. That feels good. I got my butterfly stitched down, and now I can start working on, this is sort of, I've got one more little thing in the sky to do, this little guy here. You know what, maybe I'll do the bee. I've got just a little bit of time left. I was going to have the bee free flying as well, so I will do the bee as well. So I've got a long black tail left on the bee. The neat thing about the bee is that you don't actually have to sew down his wings. You're going to sew underneath his wings. So I'm going to have him in the sky. Right where I left off, it's underneath one of the wings, so that's where the black yarn finishes. So I'm going to just peel the wing back, and I'm going to stitch I'm using the side stitches, so anywhere there's black yarn on this bee, I am doing some stitchery. And then I can put the wing back down. I am not sewing around the wing. The wing is going to leave, it's a small little piece and it's attached to a bigger piece that's going to be fully sewn down. So the wings can sort of be out in the air. Wings do not need to be stitched down, just the body. These are tiny little antennae. So if you want to skip the antenna too, you can do that as well. I'm just going to sew right underneath the antenna. I'm not going to sew the antenna down like I did over here because these ones are big. That loop is out of alignment. There we go. So I'm just sewing around the main body of the bee. I am skipping the wings. I am skipping the antenna because they're small. There we go, making sure he doesn't move on me. Still using loops from the wall hanging. Bernadette.
Okay, I found the cake. Thank you everyone in the chat.
Thank you, Bernadette, for picking up a pattern. Mr. InStitches has been cake hunting.
It is called Sfolia.
Sfolia.
And it's a silent G. It's spelled S-F-O-G-L-I-A.
Sfolia.
Yeah.
Does it mean something?
Not that I know of.
If you run that through Google Translate, does it tell us that it means something?
Strawberry, it's specifically strawberry sfolia.
Yum. It is so good.
I'll type it out in the chat box. And then you guys can image search it.
I decided I would just also stitch down the bee today. I'm going to get all of the sky pieces done today because the rest of the blanket is kind of complicated. So if I get all the sky pieces done and out of the way, then I can move on to the layering that is so much of what's in the actual garden. Coming up on the other side of the wing. As you can see, I'm pulling the wing up and out of the way as I stitch. I'm only stitching along the edge of the actual bee. I'm not stitching down the wing. The wing and the antennae can just float freely. I'm all the way back around. I'm going to make a little knot again underneath the wing. So that's that. Just weave it under a couple of stitches. Doesn't need to be too much because I'm actually hidden under a wing. Snip yarn and put the wing back in place. Now my little bee is sewn down. So sun, clouds, butterfly, bee. These guys are all sewn down. Everything else is a little bit more complicated. It is sort of like...
These are all sewn down by me.
These are all sewn down by me. Everything else is a little bit more complicated. There's layering involved. So that will be our next live stream. We'll continue stitching stuff down. Again, like I said, as much as I want this this up on my wall, I'm really happy to just sort of take my time working on this project, especially along with everybody. It's been so much fun. So I'm going to slowly unwind this. Actually, you know what? I'm not. I'm going to just leave it wrapped up for now so I can kind of talk a little bit more about what's in the sky. I think you guys can see that. So I've also got I've got a dragonfly over here, but it's going to be overlapping the sun, the edge, and also one of my birdhouses. Same thing with my hummingbird. It's going to be overlapping a birdhouse, and then its little face is going to be kind of dipping into one of these flowers that I've got to stitch down. So there's a bit more process for the layered bits, everything that's kind of like on top of each other, and then it's super, super heavily layered at the bottom. So I'll be doing that bit last. So I would recommend going top down. I'm assuming most of your stuff is going to be at the bottom and there's going to be fewer things at the top. So wherever there are fewer things, start there. I think working top to bottom is easiest for this particular project. Sew down anything that is in the background first. So for example, there is nothing behind the sun, my clouds, my bee, or my butterfly. They are just directly onto the sky. There's nothing behind them. There might end up being something in front of them, but I doubt it. I think these things are just sort of all by themselves. Sew everything down that's in the background first, and we will definitely deal with more background stuff and how to do that and keep things from shuffling around on you too much in our next live stream. So if you have questions, please don't hesitate to leave them in the comment section. Feel free to pop into the Etsy shop and ask if you like. I've been catching up on comments. There have been questions on some of our videos from the previous week and a bit, and I'm catching up on comments. So if you don't immediately see an answer to your comment, it's because I usually only get to comments on YouTube like once, sometimes twice a week if I'm lucky, but I do get to them. So keep an eye on your notifications. You should get a notification if you get a response to a comment, if you have that turned on. I know it's crazy complicated now. Do you want this notification and that notification? But you can have that turned on as a notification, especially if it's important to you. Yeah, and in the meantime, this Friday is going to be the next Granny Square in our Granny's Magical Cupboard series. Looking forward to that. So that'll be Friday all day. So for the rest of today, our super sneaky promotion is active. So you were here, you know about it, and you're the only ones. If you were here today, you know about it. Sneaky 20, all caps, all one word, in the promo code or coupon code box that you'll see as you check out on the Etsy platform. So you fill your cart, and when you go to checkout, you'll see that little promo code box. That's where you put Sneaky 20. That'll take 20% off your entire order, and that is good for today, all of today, Monday, June the 3rd, 2024. And a gigantic thank you to everybody who's used it. And that will be all this weekend. I should say all the rest of today. All the rest of today. Like I said, if you were here, you knew about it. So, Tammy's asking what stitch I'm doing. I am using the sewing stitch I'm using is, I guess, mostly whip stitch. That overlock stitch, I'm mostly going around and around, as opposed to a straight stitch where you go all the way through and all the way back up. I am adding the odd little straight stitch. There's a couple here, just working through the antennae, but mostly it's the whip stitch. So, nice and simple. And that's it, guys. If you have any other questions about it, again with the suggestions, don't stop the suggestions. I'm still keeping that list of appliques because, like I said, we're going to make more of these. These are just too darn fun, and I do love creating little appliques. So if you don't get it onto this particular wall hanging, then maybe I will be able to come up with some of the other ideas we've had. I'll be able to create appliques for those and just create little tutorials around them. So if down the road you're making your own whatever project, whether it's a wall hanging or something else, we'll have some of those applique ideas that you've got created into tutorials for you. So keep the ideas coming. Haven't turned off that list. That list is still going. Oh my god. Oh yeah, by the way, I love the girl gnome. Bobby, thank you. Yeah, here she is. I just don't know if I'm gonna add her to my wall hanging. I don't know if I have room for her. She's basically the gnome we did. She's so stinking cute. She looks a little harried. She's the same gnome. I just obviously didn't give her a beard. I gave her hair by taking long lengths and putting them. I would take my needle and weave it through just under where the hat and the ear meet, back out a stitch later, skip a stitch for the forehead, and then the same thing on this side, just bring it out this way so it's all kind of overhanging her ear. A couple of you have made them with braids, and I think that's so cute. And I gave her an apron. I noticed that a lot of the little girl gnomes, the girl guard gnomes, have little aprons, so I just stitched her up a quick apron. This is, what is this, 5 stitches across? So chain 6, single crochet in the second chain from the hook, 5 stitches. Do that for 3 rows, single crochet all 3 rows. So you have 3 rows of single crochet, 5 stitches each. Leave a long tail. I only stitched it down across the top, so her little apron flaps in the breeze. And then I did 2 long straight stitches between stitch number 2 and stitch number 4 from the stitch to her shoulder, and then from the stitch to her shoulder, so it looks like she's got some straps on. Extremely basic. So if you guys want to give that a little try, it's the same gnome pattern, but those are the only changes I made to it. And obviously she doesn't need a beard, but a lot of you have made this with way better ears and hair. Like you've gotten all fancy with the braids and stuff. So I love it. Oh my gosh. Okay, everybody, enjoy the rest of your week. We will see you Friday for Granny's Magical Cupboard Granny Square number 6. Holy cow. And keep those photos coming. Mr. InStitches, anything you want to add?
I think you covered it all.
All right. Have a wonderful week, everybody.